Welcome to Fireside Chant. Today we're going to untangle some confusion about agricultural leases here with our General Counsel, Jason Reed. So it's no secret that land lease laws can get a little confusing, and so we're here to answer some of those confusing questions that we get almost every day, every week in certain scenarios and situations that sellers and also buyers are in. And so today we're here with Jason as our General Counsel. Jason has years of experience in the estate and real estate law practice, and so we welcome Jason to answer here some of our questions here today. He plays a huge role in our office, getting all the legalities and land leases cleaned up for our sellers. And he's a huge asset to the team that others may not know we have. And so we tap into his expertise a lot. And today we're doing that here with you. And so land leases. One of the biggest questions we get, and a lot of the questions we get are surrounded by land leases, from sellers having ground that they need to sell and buyers who have ground they want to buy and may have a tenant in place, and even the tenants themselves will give us a call because sometimes there's just a lot of confusion that goes around surrounding land leases, and also, no, I would say land sale or scenario is the same. No situation is the same. And so one of the biggest questions we get is, I don't have a formal lease with a farmer, maybe because I inherited the land. Maybe mom and dad had a lease a long time ago. I inherited it. It's just been a handshake agreement or an oral agreement. Are those agreements recognized by Kansas law?
In my prior experience being in private practice for 25 years, I started in the Salina area in western Kansas, so I was involved with a number of leases. A majority of those leases were unwritten or verbal leases, and yes, under Kansas law, those are enforceable. Sometimes referred to as handshake leases, or just it's an agreement that mom and dad may have had. They've had a tenant on the property for years. Mom and dad have now passed. Right. Children inherit the property. And so what do we do? Children want to sell, but there is some uncertainty. Kansas law does recognize unwritten and verbal leases for agricultural property.
Absolutely. And so when you have a verbal or unwritten lease and you're wanting to sell the land and notify that farmer, I'm pretty sure there's some instances to terminate. And what does that look like for a buyer or seller?
There are, besides just the agreement between the parties, which sometimes they were able to get worked out, Kansas does have a written law just in case there are these issues. The law is basically 30 days prior to March 1. Notice should be given to the tenant. That notice preferably should be in writing. Whether it is sent by certified mail is not required, but it does allow an additional proof if in the event there's a question as to whether notice was given. That's the safest bet. Each case is unique. There are times in which perhaps notice didn't get sent out in time. There are ways that could be remedied. Each case is unique. It would need to be addressed on its own merits to see what would be possible. But yes, there is written notice 30 days prior to March 1st.
30 days prior to March 1st, absolutely. Now, the biggest question, one of the other bigger questions we get is, I have land with a tenant farmer. Can I sell it? Am I locked in? What can I do?
Right, so you would still be allowed to sell the property. A tenant does not have the ability, short of being a written agreement, to limit the landlord in selling their property. The landlord only would be selling the property subject to the tenant's rights. So if there were crops growing, the tenant still would be allowed to harvest those crops. If there's cattle, if it's a pasture lease, those would still be in place until the new buyer would then provide the proper notice.
Perfect. And overall land leases can be very difficult to understand and decipher, but not impossible. And even written farm leases sometimes can be a little difficult and hard to understand. And so if you or as a seller or buyer have questions or are hung up on some part of a land lease or agricultural lease that you're needing answers to, certainly give us a call. We have Jason here that is a huge wealth of knowledge to help you in any situation that you have. have. If you're looking to sell, looking to buy, if you're a tenant farmer that's in one of these situations, feel free to reach out and give us a call. We're happy to help and assist. That's our main job, is connecting buyers and sellers, whether it be out on the farm or here in the studio. We're happy to help you however we can. So please feel free to reach out, to give us a call with any of these questions that may spur from this conversation with Jason and myself. And keep an eye out. Next month, we'll have our next Fireside Chant, and we'll also have a blog coming out along with this one that we just talked about, that you can read a little further along. And again, don't be afraid to give us a call. Thanks.
Great, thank you.